Hi.
Hola.
Hi, here's Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas Copa 17.1 in the new black, white, and red colorway. Now, obviously this is kind of Adidas's take on a modern leather shoe inspired by the Copa Mundial, which aside from the fact that it's leather, that's really the only thing that it has in common with the actual Copa Mundial, so please keep that in mind. But nonetheless, in today's video, we're going to go over all of the basic tech specs and details on the shoe. So if you want to learn a little bit more about it and just hear my general opinions, stick around, watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, there'll be a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. So, Copa 17.1, exactly what are you getting? It's a pretty straightforward design. They didn't do too much that I feel is unnecessary, which can often be the case with a lot of these kind of modern leather shoes. What they did is they incorporated a really good quality kangaroo leather material that spans the majority of the upper. The only part that isn't leather is basically the heel area, which is not a big deal at all, and the tongue, which I have a little bit of a gripe with, but we'll get to that in just a second. So basically, the entire forefoot toe box area, and then of course where you see the Adidas stripes on both sides, feature a good kangaroo leather material. The thickness, I would say, is average for a leather shoe, not overly bulky by any means. It does have a little bit of a thinner feel in comparison to the Copa Mundial, although the overall quality of the leather on the Copa, I would say, is a little bit nicer than what you're getting here on the Copa 17.1. Nonetheless, it does get a pass, and it's definitely on par in terms of leather quality with other modern leather top-end models out there. And like I said, the amount that you get on the shoe is good, which is something that we don't always see from Adidas, where they really like to just give us leather at the toe. That's not the case here with the Copa 17.1. So if you're looking for that soft leather feel, that comfort that you would expect from a leather shoe, you do get that from the Copa 17.1. The laces run through the middle, as you guys can see, which is a pretty straightforward layout. Nothing too crazy about that. As far as other quirks to the upper is concerned, they do not feature non-stop grip on this particular shoe like you'll find on their other top-end lines. Is that really a major thing? Not really. It's a wet control element that I would really question as to whether or not it does anything at all, so I don't feel like it's a missing element on this particular shoe whatsoever. They just left it with a straight up kind of standard leather finish, which is perfectly sufficient for this style of shoe in my opinion. And then of course you get to the tongue, which obviously does have this big flap, which I don't personally care for the look of, and it's not really designed to stay down all that well unless you tie the laces over top of it, because it'll just immediately pop up with almost no kind of force whatsoever. So that's something that not everybody likes, but it's not really something that I find to be too big of a deal in terms of getting in the way. You don't really notice it. It just kind of goes up your leg, and you don't really feel it after that. You ignore it pretty quickly. But what I don't like about the tongue, and again, this is not a complaint for the sake of it hurts the overall performance and comfort level of a shoe. It's a complaint in that I just kind of feel like it's unnecessary, and I'll talk about it a little bit later when I actually put them on. But basically what's happening here is you have a compression fit tongue. So this material that covers where the laces are actually wraps along the sides, and it's basically an internal structure for your foot. It's a stretchy textile material, and like I said, it's kind of an internal sock-like enclosure underneath the actual leather upper itself. It does have a little bit of a tightness to it. It's not something that I would say is super noticeable once you actually have the shoes on. It doesn't really add stability or reinforce the upper in any way. It's more so just a modern element that they added to a more traditionally styled shoe. So again, not a make or break feature in any way at all, but not really a performance feature by any means. It's just kind of an extra tech spec to have in the shoe for the sake of it not being boring to a certain extent, although I think that a standard, just straight up regular tongue perhaps would have been the better option, at least in my opinion. Obviously the shoe is a standard low cut, nothing crazy about that. Feels pretty normal. Internally, you're going to find a nice synthetic leather lining material with these really cool kind of ankle pad bumps on either side that just give that nice extra softness on the inside of the shoe. No issues with heel slip edge at all, which is always nice to see. The insole, fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. Pretty straightforward insole. It's got a nice synthetic suede liner on top, and it's a thin layer of this kind of ortholite style material. Decent insole, nothing crazy though in terms of the underfoot padding that it does actually provide. And then as far as the outsole and stud pattern is concerned, it's a pretty general layout from Adidas for the Copa 17.1. They didn't go and redesign anything. They basically just took the sprint frame and sole stud pattern combo from the Ace 17 lineup. So as you guys can see, you do get the external heel counter right here, and then at the bottom, you get the Ace 17 stud pattern. So this is technically an FGAG stud pattern, all conical studs. Definitely more of a firm ground stud pattern in my opinion, but it does get the job done. It's kind of what you're getting from every Adidas model in terms of layout at the moment. And again, there isn't really too much to complain about in regards to overall traction and performance in that particular department. As far as the look of the shoe is concerned, again, I really feel like this is the colorway they should have launched with the Copa 17.1 in the first place. Classic black, white Adidas stripes, a little white piping around the actual tongue itself, the white on the back, and then they went with the white sole plate, which is kind of an unusual thing for a one-piece sprint frame construction. We don't necessarily see that all the time. So it looks like it's two pieces, but it isn't actually. Nonetheless, it looks very, very good, and you can see they have the red design there on the bottom, taken from the soft ground version of the Copa Mundial, which is actually the World Cup. That's what they call it. So that is kind of an homage to that. You're going to find that on most colorways of the Copa 17.1. And then again, little red accents in the form of the Adidas stripe on the flap and the Adidas logo on the back, I think just look very, very good. Straightforward, very, very simple, and you can never go wrong with that, especially for this style of shoe. I think a lot of people who would be interested in a Copa 17.1 are really going to dig this particular kind of low profile but very clean colorway. Now, in regards to the fit, let's take a look at that. So you can see on the right shoe right here, I have a pair of wide white reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you guys are interested in a pair for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description that'll take you to the website sr4ulaces.com. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. So in regards to putting these on, and my major complaint about this shoe, it's the compression tongue. So you can see immediately when I put them on, it bunches up at the end because the compression tongue only spans basically where the tongue is. So it cuts off here and then cuts off here. So when you put it in, because it is elasticated and has a little bit of a compression fit, it immediately bunches all the way to the edges. So what you have to do is put them on and then reach inside here and pull from the very end so you don't have these bulges, because if you don't do that and you tie it up, you're going to have two large chunks of material on the inside right about here, and it pushes against your foot when you pull the laces tight, which can be a little bit uncomfortable. So you're going to have to just go through the process of reaching inside and pulling the compression fit tongue so it's completely smooth along the sides until everything feels right. Then you can tie them up and go about your day. After that, there's really nothing to deal with. But again, I just think that there really wasn't much reason to do a compression fit style tongue, an internal wrap of your foot for a leather shoe. You buy a leather shoe for the feel of leather, not for an internal element. So tie these up really quickly and we'll put on the left shoe as well. But that is kind of the little fiddly thing with this particular shoe. Is it a big deal? No, but something that again, I wish was not there. So I'll just unlace these really quickly. Something that I always recommend doing, and a lot of people don't do it, is loosen your shoes properly prior to putting them on. It's really not a good idea to just try and shove a shoe on your foot just because it's harder to do, one, and long term, if you do that 10, 20 times, it can cause damage to the shoe. You just want to be very careful and make sure the shoes are going on your feet as easily as they possibly can. So again, just got to adjust this compression fit tongue. It's going to be different every time depending on how it decides to sit on your foot. And then just tie the shoes up really quickly and you're pretty much good to go. Flap tongue, as you guys can see, it just kind of rides up the front of your leg. It's thin enough to where it doesn't really offer any bulk or doesn't really change the feel of the shoe in any way, but it is something that I know will bother some people. Could you cut it off? I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, given that it is an elasticated material here and it's attached to that internal piece, but you could go about doing it if you really, really wanted to. Just know that you will void the manufacturer's warranty. So here is a look at the shoes on feet. Pretty straightforward in terms of fit. They didn't go anything crazy with the shape of the shoe. It's a nice soft kangaroo leather material, so as you would expect, the shoe is very soft, very flexible on your feet, and then as with any leather shoe, the more you wear them, the softer they're going to get, and they are going to have some good stretch to them as well. So in regards to width, these will fit most people. It does have a more of a snug fit through the midfoot, given the sprint frame base that they did incorporate on this particular shoe, but for the most part, you're not really going to have any issues in regards to the overall width. Weight-wise, again, speaking of that sprint frame, these guys weigh in at about 7.3 ounces or so in a size 9 US, so they're actually on the lighter side of things in regards to weight, which is definitely a plus for this particular design. And in regards to sizing, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So that is pretty much it for my review of the black and white Copa 17.1. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little, you can go ahead and click the little eye in the corner of the screen, as well as the first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.